Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, welcome to our December 24th broadcast, looking at this exciting time that we're living in. We're looking at the beginning of the year 2023. We're calling this year the year of the dramatic wake-up call to heal global relations.
So happy holidays, happy celebrations. Oh,
Yes.
Excuse me a minute. Yeah. Santa's on his way.
Then you call.
I am. I do.
Okay, very good. So anyway, whether you celebrate Christmas or another form of holidays, we just send our blessings, light, and wish you absolutely the best. We're so grateful to have you with us in our community. So we do this broadcast once a month, and we're delighted to be with you once again. Many of you have been with us for many years. Some of you maybe are just joining us. In any case, sit down, relax. We'll be together for an hour. We're going to be taking you through the remainder of the month of December from today onward. And then we're going to look at the entire month of January. So, as many of you know, we're really in a dynamic time, a pivotal time of making pivotal choices. And, the decision it's coming down to what we really need to see how it is that we choose to determine the quality of our lives. And if we can get really clear about that this year, then we'll be creating our lives in a much easier creation field that you'll see the results of your creation coming to you much more readily.
It is a pivotal year.
Yeah, powerful pivotal year. So for those of you who are new to our human design community, we're just delighted to have you with us. And join us we produce this complimentary broadcast once a month. It's to help you make sense of the times that we're living in and to support you to live more in harmony with the prevailing energies each month. So, if you don't fight it, you use it and work with it, then you have more pleasant outcomes. So all are welcome. We're happy to have you with us every month. So before we begin, though, we want to make sure that you know about our holiday reading special. So this is one of our best, most value-packed offerings of the entire year, where you're going to receive both a 90-minute, very deep dive human design exploration with Shaitan, and then after your time with him, and you've had time to integrate the human design information that he's given you, then you'll have a 60-minute coaching session with me in which I will support you to take the human design information and plug it into your life and into the way that you're moving in life so that you begin right away creating more successful outcomes for yourself. And it's a great time to do that right here at the closing of one year, the beginning of another one. So we've kept our fee the same for the past 7 years, and our team was like, I think we need to raise the fee. Everybody else is raising their prices, right? Have you noticed? But we decided to keep our fee for our reading the same as it's been for the last 7 years. This may be the last year we do that. So if you want to work with us privately, and it's right for you, no matter where you are in your understanding of your human design life chart, Shaitan's going to take you to the next deeper level of awareness so that you can continue to activate your success keys. And of course, the more you do that, the easier it gets. And then I'm going to coach you on your design, and we'll look at your life goals, your business goals. And basically, I'm going to support you to get more of the results that you desire in that 60-minute deep dive coaching session.
So this special that we're offering, that we do at this time of the year, it expires soon. So our recommendation is, if you know this is right for you, go to our website, evolutionaryhumandesign.com/holiday-reading. And if you can't remember that, just go to our website, look for the readings page, and it will be there. we look forward to having this opportunity for helping you up-level your life to a completely different place in this very pivotal time.
Yeah, so log in, take a look, and lock in your spot while it's still available. Okay, shall we begin? Let's take a look at.
Yeah. So we've already assured Santa's on his way, which is great news. You know, we have to check now, naughty or nice, and just see, are we wishing the best for the world around us? And, you know, this is a pivotal time. So Christmas Eve, we have this shift out of the 10th, the sun being in the 10th hexagram. We've had these last few days, we've had the 6124 between Mercury, which is in a retrograde motion coming up in the next couple of days. So it's stationary in gateway number 61 at the moment, the gateway of inner truth. So it really is, you know, there's great possibilities to see something in a very different light at the moment. And it is in a hookup with the North Node, the destiny path for humanity, which is in the 24th hexagram. And we've got this channel by transit, the 6124, as we go out of this year, 2022.
What a way to go out.
What a way to go out. So, you know, in a sense, before COVID started, or actually synonymous with COVID, we had that channel activated by Pluto and the planet Uranus. So we would have to say, you know, just looking around the world, is your life the same as it was a couple of years ago? Don't think so. So all of us have had to make a massive adjustment, and just towards the end of the year now and into 2023, we have this channel by transit. And just to be very watchful of that, to see new insights coming in, new possibilities coming in. It should be said at this moment in time also, Mars is in a retrograde motion. It is also, from our point of view here on Earth, it looks like it's going backwards through the sky. Of course it isn't, it's doing what it does, but just from the perspective we have here on Earth. And the idea with behind the Mercury retrograde is, you know, behind Mars retrograde, sorry, Mars is very much about our activities in the world, how we make a living, our attitude to go out and make it work. Sometimes in extreme measures, it's definitely the male and masculine side of things. If we look at it that way, it's kind of pushing things away. And Mars did this station in the 12th gateway back in October. And the 12th gateway is the gateway of stand still. So Mars, which is always very outgoing energy, and stand still, you know, it was quite an anomaly that we may have realized at the end of October, a lot of things were going to shift for us. It also took place in the 4th line, which is the line we call prophesying. Prophesying is this ability to look into the future. And so I can guarantee all of us in one way or another, whether we've deliberately done so or not, our attitude towards our work, our activities, how we go about stuff in the world, it has either changed or it's in a place of changing at the moment. Mars isn't going to go direct again until the middle of January. It's not going to go back to where it was when it did that turnaround until the middle of March. And I guarantee by the middle of March, all is going to recognize, you know, I'm going about things differently in my life. And to embrace that and enjoy that whole thing. And to just see, okay, there's necessarily a call to up level or upgrade, or in some way rearrange things in a very positive and personally empowering way. As we come to the 25th Christmas Day in the West, the sun has gone into gateway number 58. And the 58 is the gateway of joy. And, you know, it's like really a season to celebrate at this time. And it goes on up until the 29th, 30th of the month. We have these days in which to really celebrate, to be joyous in our place here. Now, the 58th gateway in human design is in the root center. It's right at the bottom of the chart, bottom left-hand corner of the root center in the chart. And we can look at that root center in two different ways. It can be the pressure to get out and do stuff in life, or it can be the support we get from Mother Earth to engage in our life in a wholesome way. So if we bring in the word joy and support from Mother Earth, and we see that this is the season for celebration, then it can really give us a clue in this time how to rearrange our life in that we can naturally find our way into joy during the rest of the year. And it's just to say, we have a very deliberate choice in life. We can either enjoy our life, or we can feel that life is a harassment. We can either see that life is something that's for us, rather than life is something that happens to us. And so in a sense, the 58 gives us that huge opportunity to change our attitude about what is going on in our life. So as we end up or come to the end of the month, we just have this reacquaintance with a whole sense of joy. And I just encourage all of us to embrace that energy as the sun goes through that 58th gateway. One last little thing that happens before the end of the month is Mercury still in retrograde, right? And it's going to carry on in that it goes into retrograde actually on the 28th. It's been slowing down. So it's going to hold this connection with the North Node destiny, with the 24, all the way up until the 4th of January. So we have this channel of 6124 trying to help us rearrange our whole thought process as we're going into 2023.
Good. So if we look at it, so I just was musing while you were talking and, following the design and just kind of watching it, how the design really provides this, the process of life. It's like it moves from one gate, moves us into the next gate, moves us into the next kind of awareness or reality or experiences that we need to have. And then the astrology, what happens is that the astrological energies and the aspects they come around and move that wheel, like move it forward or bring a certain kind of energy or catalyze it. So there's a way in which these two art forms, really, sciences, art forms, really work well together. So I like to back up to just a day or two before us and look at the beginning of a cycle at the new moon. So every new moon we have a new cycle, and it's like there's a new title for what our experience is going to be for that month, that 30-day period. And essentially, this new moon happened pretty much at just a couple days after the winter solstice. It happened at 1 degree of Capricorn on the 23rd, just yesterday. So what's significant about this new moon, I mean, we're going to have a new moon every winter in Capricorn, but what's significant about this one are the phenomenal aspects that it's making to the rest of the chart. One of the things that's happening concurrently at the same time that we have the sun moving into Capricorn, we've got the winter solstice, and we've got the new moon. Then we also have Jupiter moving into leaving the sign of Pisces, where it's been for quite some time now, almost a year, and going into Aries. So it does that on December 20th. So at the same time, we've got the planet of expansion and growth and new adventure and, wanting to move forward and moving in this very pioneering sign, Aries, to blaze the trail. So we have this fiery energy just ready to sort of take on the year. And yet, as we enter January and we begin the new year, we're also in a period where we're entering it in a Mercury retrograde, so it's time to rethink things. And we're entering it in a Mars retrograde, so it's time to retool how we do our business, to take a look at our business, our work, our entire career life, and make some important assessments that lead to some sort of substantial changes. So we enter the year to some degree, instead of all guns blazing and let's go into the new year, as some of the energy would suggest. Instead, we're still working out, well, what are we going to do, or how are we going to reposition, or how are we going to make these changes? And all the pieces haven't fallen in place yet. So it's a funny entrance to the year, but a powerful one. There's some beautiful aspects happening at the same time. Namely, we were talking about the retrograde Mars.
Yes.
And it's, reviewing the way that we do our work in the world. And in particular, because it's retrograde in Gemini, we're reviewing the way that we do our work and how we communicate as we're working, whatever that is, whether it's our business or our job, the community that we're engaging with. It's how do we bring our energy and how are we engaging? And what we see at this point, with the new moon and the winter solstice beginning, moving us right up to Christmas, is that retrograde Mars is making a very favorable aspect to Chiron, which is the body in space that reflects the process of alignment of the lower self with the higher self. So there's this, not just a shifting of what we're doing or how we're doing, but there's needing to be within that shift, this realignment to, connect with our spirit essence and allow more of the orchestration of our life to come from that aspect of our being, which is the aspect that lights the way forward for us. So a lot of really positive aspects at the same time that we have a little bit of this sort of push-pull going in the new year. We've got high innovation still. We've been basically in a time of new discoveries, all kinds of breakthroughs, scientific breakthroughs, medical breakthroughs, environmental breakthroughs, energy breakthroughs, and it's just continuing. It just keeps on building. So some really exciting new processes and products and sort of pathways for us to walk and be and have our life in are going to start emerging in the coming year. So that's exciting as well. Mm-hmm. And Jupiter's going to be blazing the trail, wanting to, try out everything new, get it, but the challenge is going to be, can we kind of modulate our energy and do things in a sensible sort of way? So that will be the challenge. But it's a highly inspired time as well, all through the latter part of December. Venus and Mercury beautifully together in this lovely linking energy with Neptune, which Neptune is the higher quality of love. It's love, it's sacred love. And so it's beautiful, high, lovely energies inviting us to open our creativity, see what changes we need to make and make them with some elegance and, just go forward with it, blaze the new trail, get clear on what it is that we need to get in place in order to be really ready and committed to move with the new energies and choices that we've made as we go into the month of January. So over to you.
Okay. So New Year's Day, according to the Roman calendar, is kind of an interesting one because, we've got Mercury retrograding, kind of checking out how we think about stuff and our communications and things that need to be done. And Mars also retrogrades, our whole way of doing things is, I wouldn't say it's being compromised, but it's being rearranged in a sense. Our attitude towards our outgoing energy is being rearranged. So we come into January, or the month the Roman calendar calls it the god Janus, who has a face looking forward and a face looking backwards as well. So it's very appropriate for 2023 that, we enter in as part of us looking back at the same time we look forward. And always the hexagram that the sun's sitting in at the time we enter into the new year is the gateway number 38. The 38 is a gateway called opposition. And what is the opposition to? The opposition is to things that are contrary to fairness. 38 is very much on point about what is fair. So this whole thing of new resolutions or turning over a new leaf or leaving behind things that are just unfair or don't work, I ain't going to do that again kind of thing. That is very much the energy as we enter into 2023. At the same time, I was talking earlier about this channel, the 6124, between Mercury, which is now very much in a retrograde motion, and the North Node destiny path for humanity, making this channel a 6124. So our whole way of thinking about stuff as we enter into 2023, we have an opportunity literally to turn over a new leaf. The Mars going forward is business as usual. The Mars going retrograde is, hang on a minute, maybe there's a chance to rearrange things here. Yeah. Right? So whatever Mars energy means to you, just, be aware that this is being reevaluated at the moment. Mercury is also conjoining with the planet Uranus at the moment, which is also pretty exciting. And it's Uranus and the North Node are conjoining at the moment. So the destiny path for humanity and the planet Uranus, which is all about, break out of fossilized concepts in a way, they're conjoining together at the moment. We go a couple of days in and Uranus starts doing a retrograde motion and it's in gateway number 2. Gateway number 2 is the gateway of receptivity. And it's in the second line. And the second line is basically this line of unlearnable knowledge. Or I could say unlearnable knowing. Something inside of us just knows. And it's a silly saying, but you know, when you know, you know. You don't know how you know in this case that Uranus is really accessing these things, giving us a whole different spectrum of possibilities about how life really works for us, what's going on. We get up to the 4th in January, and the sun has moved on into 38 with the 5th line, and it opens up this life theme we call individualism. So you can see this energy as we come into 2023 really does give us an opportunity to do things completely differently. And so we say, you know, of course, write your resolutions on New Year's Day. I'm also going to say hold off a little bit, because in human design, we have another New Year's Day, which I'll talk about presently. But it's just to say, we're entering in 2023 in a very, very different kind of energy. And I'm just going to go as far as the 6th, where we have a full moon. And the full moon, just to accentuate everything else, is in the 53, which is the gate of new beginnings. Right? Getting something different started, opening up a whole different line of experience in life. And full moons are highly significant in the sense that, you know, when the yin-yang symbol, we have the black and then the little white dot in it, right? Well, the black is the regular stuff and the little white dot is the moon. And then we have the opposite side of things, the whole white side of things with a little black dot in it as well. And it's just signifying, you know, the moon has this enormous significance in our life. And I just encourage us all to see when this full moon comes around on the 6th of January, there's a whole new cycle opening up. A whole new thing is opening up for us. Something very, very different can take place. One more little thing I'm going to say on the 7th is Jupiter goes, as you've been saying, goes into Aries. But on the 7th, it goes into the 25th hexagram and the 5th line. Jupiter, as we know, is the planet of expansion. You know, all of us are seeking to, you know, not just sit on the same spot in life. We're seeking to see life expand its horizons for us. And the 25 is the gateway of innocence. And when you consider the word innocence, it really reflects our true nature. We are really actually innocent. We might have built up a very complicated lifestyle for ourselves. But the source of it all, we don't really know what's going on here. We don't really know what life is. We've just been given this experience. Now, the beauty of the 25 and the 5th line is this place, it's almost like the unlearnable knowing that I'm talking about. It's a quality of healing. And it's a line I call, there is no worldly cure for spiritual sickness. And in a sense, what it does is it opens up a possibility, not only for us to heal on a physical level, but on a mental, emotional, spiritual, and multiple levels, to come to an understanding of things. And it has to be said, when something shows up on the physical level, you know, we get a sickness, we get a COVID, we get something goes wrong in the system. It basically means we've missed the signal on the mental, emotional, spiritual, astral, goodness knows how many different levels. And so Jupiter accenting this 25 with the 5th line on the 7th, it's a 7-day transit through this 25 with the 5th line. Just to be aware, you know, maybe a great time to go into meditation without the pills and stuff, meditation, like really go into that part of your body that may be suffering a little under the weather and just find out, where did I miss the signals in other places? And just see, if I can reconnect with those things, then sure enough, I'm going to start a process, because the body is a natural self-healing device given the right atmosphere. You know, all kinds of things can be transmuted in this space. So just be aware of that, 7th to the 14th. Over to you, sweetheart.
I'm going to back up. Go all the way back to the 4th. I mean, to the 1st.
Very good.
Yeah. Because there's another dynamic I wanted to mention that's happening right as we move from the end of 2022 into 2023. So right there, December 29th, 30th, 31st, right into New Year's Day, we have a few aspects that are you know, significant, but we have one in particular that I want to emphasize, and that's that the planet Venus, which is the planet that has to do with our love nature, it's the attraction factor, it's how we value life, how we value everything, how we value things. It's money, it's love, romance, beauty, art. It's all the yummies in life, Venus. So Venus is traveling in Capricorn, and it's going to be exactly conjunct, exactly together with Pluto. And Pluto, the planet of deep and powerful and wholesale transformation. So transformation implies healing, because what happens is that when we move from one level of consciousness or one form of being into the next higher level, what happens is that the old has to fall away so that the new can get born, so that the new has a place to stand and thrive from. So, we've been in this process of a lot of uncertainty in the world, and a lot of things falling away, the things that we used to take for granted, or the beliefs that we used to have, or the way that we thought our culture worked even. A lot is in question. Our systems are in question. Do our religious systems work anymore? Are they really serving the people? The education system, is it working? The healthcare system, is it, what about our environment? So if you look at all the systems that we have in place, they're wearing out, they're breaking down, they're not working anymore. And it's because we're in one of these Plutonian times. We're in this death so that rebirth can happen kind of period. And it's not comfortable, but it's a necessary process so that new can get born. So what is that new that's emerging? Well, if we look at if we look at history, basically every time Pluto's been in a very powerful place like it is now in Capricorn, where it's affecting all the world's systems, we've had some sort of big upheaval in the world. The last time was the American independence. So there's an upheaval going on, in particular because Venus is involved. It's an upheaval in terms of our self-value, self-love, self-worth, our monetary systems, and our way of believing about and embracing and expressing and receiving and giving love. So it's huge. It's pretty huge, and it's right. It's exact at this moment that we cross from 2022 and 2023. Boom, we get this Venus Pluto exactly. So if we haven't been listening, if we haven't been listening, it's going to be a little like the drums and cymbals to the ears kind of thing. It's going to be a, wake up. So there's something to heal for you in terms of your love life or your relationship to money. It's your time. It must be done, because we can't take the world into its next evolutionary phase, hanging on to old systems that don't work, or old beliefs that simply aren't true. So that's the essence of what I see here, this powerful opening of the new year. And the healing is very much part of the energy as we enter the new year as well. So, you want me to look at New Year's Day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we said that, this is the year of the dramatic wake-up call to heal global relations. So how we came to that is, we do research, and we look at the whole year, and we look at all the energies and how they're playing in the year, and we sort of get a sense of what's the big overview that's happening. And then another...
We sat with this for quite a while.
It really has been quite a work leading up to this broadcast to share with you. But it's another way you can look at it is if you do a chart for the actual beginning of the new year. So January 1st at 1 minute after midnight, which I did. And so what I would say there is, if you look at what's in place, what's at play, you could say, in the chart of the new year, it kind of gives you a bit of an overview of what the whole year is going to look like. And so much of those energies that I was just talking about are very much present as we open into the new year, and they're going to therefore become themes in the year. One of them is this big transformation of values, Pluto conjunct Venus. And it's not the only thing that's saying it's time to transform our values, but that in particular, opening the new year with that as the conversation. And then Uranus, the awakener to higher states of consciousness, the revolutionary planet that shakes us out of our complacency, and wakes us up. Hey, there's more to life. So that Uranus, the awakener in Taurus, together with the soul path, really leading to a re-examination and awakening into a re-examination of our values and our beliefs. So our religious or spiritual beliefs and our values are connected. They're different things, but they're actually connected. So the work, the inner work, is the re-examining of those values and those beliefs, what's really true for us. And that truth emerges, all we have to do is seek it. And it emerges. The sun is moving into this beautiful triangle with Uranus, just opening the intuition wide open, and the portal's going to be open for us to see, get the answers, get clear. So that clarity is coming this year. I think it's going to be a powerful and highly creative year. So without taking more time on just the overview, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So you talked about Venus, and I haven't mentioned Venus so far, but come the 9th, all of a sudden we have an interaction between Venus and Saturn in the human design chart. Venus in gateway number 19, which is feeling into the needs of everybody, and the Saturn now in its journey for this next year, and part of 2024 as well, it's going to go through all the gateways in the emotions center. So Saturn, we might say it's all about our disciplines, our self-study, our meditations, our stumbling blocks, is going to go through one after the other, each one of the gateways in the emotions center. So it's going to evaluate our emotional intelligence, if you will, or what are our reactions and what are our natural ways of engaging with our emotions and our feelings. So on the 9th, Venus is in gateway number 19, Saturn is in gateway number 45. And this is just kind of an opening gambit here of Venus and Saturn. How do Venus and Saturn work together? What is the feminine side being honored by, the disciplines or the rule systems of the world? And it's through this channel of sensitivity. And it's become very evident this last year. There are women in the world, particularly in a place like Iran, where there has been this theocratic, male-dominated religious system set up, government. And, women are not appreciating this style of life anymore. I've spent quite a bit of time in countries where women are literally clothed head to toe. You can't see a thing, a little grill across their eyes and stuff. What's it all about? What is that thing? Is it something wrong with a woman, or is it just that men can't behave themselves properly? That they can't, they stare and they, ogle, and, what is the story behind all of that? Because certainly it's not written in the Quran anywhere. I can guarantee that. You can search it cover to cover. It's not there. These are self-imposed rules or governmental rules, dictatorship rules, if you will. And we're moving into this time. That's why we call this year, in a sense, of healing global relations. We have to be able to communicate. We have to be able to get things across in a very, very different way. Much has been said about the word apocalypse. We're coming into apocalyptic times. Yeah, sure. If you go back and look at the Greek, what apocalypse means, it means raising the veil. Oh, really? Yeah. It's not about throwing missiles at each other. It's about raising the veil, having a really, really good look here. And so, part of the healing global relations has to be the honoring of the feminine side. Has to be. That's going to shift everything. The thing is hopelessly outweighed by the male side of things, the bombs, the guns, the rockets, the explosions, the wholesale destruction of stuff. And so, we're entering into this 2023 with a very different potential here. We come to the 11th, the sun goes into gateway number 61. This is a gateway called inner truth. All of us know what inner truth is when we really can get in there and find it. We know when we're out of balance. We know when we're doing something contrary to the laws of existence. We just know it. And in that time when the sun is in gateway number 61, the North Node, the destiny path for humanity, is in the 24. And again, we have this channel between the crown center and the mind center. This wanting to know, to want to look deeply into life. And sure enough, we get to the 12th or 13th, and Mars does its turnaround to start going direct again. So part of the review of everything in these last months with Mars outgoing energy, business as usual, destruction, violence, whatever, however we do it, whether it can be highly creative or highly destructive. Mars has had this opportunity to show us, maybe there's another way of seeing stuff. It does its turnaround in gateway number 16, which is the gateway of the skill or enthusiasm for life, or particularly in skill and enthusiasm for looking at things and recognizing if they have any potential for success, potential that's going to take us somewhere useful, or whether it's something that just needs to be discarded. So I've said all of us, we're going to have to re-examine how we're going about things, our business as usual attitudes to things, just the momentum we build up. Well, we always do it like this. It's the male way and men rule the show, whatever, male governments. And we're just, we have this opportunity to turn that around, to find a different perspective to things. So I'm going to stop right there for now and ask you if you'd tell us your viewing. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking particularly at the full moon.
Yeah.
And the full moon comes on January 6th. So we have that ingress into the new year. We already talked about the themes that are highly at play as we enter the new year. And then the next juncture, in a sense, is the full moon. Full moon, 16 degrees of Cancer opposite the sun at 16 degrees of Capricorn. What's interesting about this full moon is that the sun and Mercury, the retrograde Mercury, right? So we're still in a review, both in Capricorn are almost exactly conjunct or together. So this full moon, in a sense, we really can't separate Mercury from it because Mercury is part of the full moon. So what does the full moon do? It illuminates what is the highest potential for what we're going to get to experience or express in the month is illuminated at the full moon. So what have we been working on? We've been working on our systems, our processes. We've been looking at what's working anymore. What do I want to change? What new ideas do I have? What do I want to implement? And we've been in sort of a planning and review stage. Well, at this point, at the full moon, a lot has been up for review. We're already at January 6th, and Mars is going to, stop its retrograde motion here on the 13th. So we're coming towards the end of that Mars deep dive look back over our work life, our business. And we're coming to the point at the full moon where we're now able to start really get some realizations and some understandings that pertain exactly to how we're going to reorganize or retool or renew or recreate, transform what we're doing. So that should feel really good. That full moon energy should feel like, oh, okay, now I see. Now, it might not be exactly time to rush out and take action because we do still have that Mercury retrograde. And so to some degree, we're still going to be in a planning mode, planning, research, figuring it out, trying new things until Mercury does its station, goes direct later in the month of January. When does it do that? January?
I think it's this 20th.
20th, yeah. I'll find it, the exact. January 18th, 19th.
Okay.
So we've got another couple of weeks here at the full moon. So we're really deep into still the question, but we may get some answers. And when the answers come, they'll come with high revelation, big, grand, new ideas, new possibilities that we couldn't have imagined before. And that's because this lunation is highlighted very positively by Uranus, that, we begin to see things in an entirely new light, viewed from the fifth dimensional reality. The choices and the options we have in front of us all look very, very different because from that fifth dimensional plane, we recognize that we're creators, we're influencing outcomes, and we're doing that through our intention and through our love, through the love that we put into creating our life, painting our life as beautiful and as powerful as we want it to be. So we're starting to learn how to consciously create instead of just reacting to the energies of the times. So that's pretty big. It's a good, nice start for a juicy year.
So I'm going to tune in here again at the 14th, 15th of the month, and Mars doing its turnaround at gate 16. And I'm saying this is the turnaround where we're really examining and seeing, all right, I've had all these things ready to go. I've had all these ideas and things. backing up, ready to be engaged with. And Mars has been holding back on everything and just helping us re-examine, is this really worthwhile? And it does this turn in the 16, where we either decide we're going to continue as before, or we're going to just push it aside and go into something in a very, very different way, or perhaps approach the things that we've been doing before very differently. On the 16th, the sun goes into hexagram number 60, which is the gate of limitations, and it joins Pluto there. Pluto is going to be in gate 60 the whole of 2023. It's going to be in gate 60 for a major part of 2024. It doesn't actually stop interacting with gateway number 60 until 2025, December. So we better get used to this idea of what 60 is all about and what Pluto's doing there. And as Carol has said, you know, the last time Pluto was in the 60, there was an American Revolution going on, trying to get rid of the British and the unfairness of the British presence here in terms of taxation without representation or something along those lines. They also didn't like the tea, I think, or something like that.
We threw it in the harbor. This is useless stuff.
Yeah, really. Let's get coffee instead. Anyway, so the 60th gateway, limitations, right? What are the limitations in life? When you consider it, when you sit tight for a minute and just consider, how am I limited in my life? All right. First thing is, if it's a potential limitation, the body is liable to suffer from certain things if I don't look after it. So there's the first consideration, look after the body, you know. Second thing is to look around and see, all right, where are my expenses in the world? Where do I have to deliberately put energy? And where if I don't, there's going to be a holdup. So I put food in the fridge, I put money in my purse, I put gas in the car, I take care of things, I take care of business. That's what the 60 is all about. And that's what Pluto's doing for the whole planet in these next few years, is covering the needful. And there's a key word there, needful. Right? If something is no longer functioning properly or needful, you know, we don't have to pay that bill anymore. We don't need the cable anymore. We get the wireless instead. You know, all kinds of technological things are shifting in this time. And we can drop things that are no longer relevant for us in our life because we just see there's no point in putting energy there. It's a potential holdup I don't need. But new things are showing up. You know, we've got to pay the cell phone bill every month now because, you know, we can't live without our smartphone. So, you know, things keep shifting like that, but it's really an exercise of seeing where do I hold myself back? So the bills are very easy to look at. You know, I've got to pay this bill, that bill, whatever. I've got to keep things covered like that. Because if they go into default, then there's going to be complications. Energetically, apart from anything else, I'm going to feel held back. So it's really also about looking, okay, we've had this Mars retrograde and my activities in life and Mercury retrograde and how I think and communicate about things. Have I learned anything from this? Have I seen that maybe I'm going about things in a way that really doesn't suit me anymore? Maybe I'm committed to a career. I'm kind of hanging my name on a label of a career and I don't need to do that anymore. Maybe it's time for me to entrepreneurialize or, you know, solopreneurs or whatever it is, or find somebody else I really like to work with, a company that I really enjoy. You know, key word here is joy, because that's where Mercury turns direct in the 58, line 5. And the 58, remember, this is the one that turned on, the sun turned it on Christmas Day. Joy, right? And the whole thing about joy is there's our choice in life. Are we going to be joyous? Are we going to have fun with what we do? Are we going to have fun in how we live our life? Or are we going to be miserable? You know, and you don't have to look very far in the world to see a lot of people don't get the joy part of it. You know, somehow or other. And we could say, all right, you know, Pluto's really having a go at this and just trying to get our attention. You don't have to engage with things that are just a problem for you. The limitations, you don't have to engage, you know, just ignore limitations. You deal with them. You face what life puts in front. And all of a sudden, there's a transformation takes place. At this time, we have a new moon. And the new moon also in gateway number 60, joining with Sun, joining with Pluto. And I'm just going to read you the line of this, 60, the gate of limitation. It takes place in the 6th line. And the 6th line is called being idealistic, balancing between indulgence and unreasonable restraint. So when you consider the word limitation and you consider what's the extreme opposite of limitation is complete freedom. And you look around the world and you see all these restrictive things, you know, like zero COVID, war, you know, got to wear a burqa, got to deal with all these concepts and ideals that have been put in place. And this full moon conjoining the sun, conjoining Pluto is just saying, get over it, you know, find a way around, get done with these limitations, find your freedom, find your sovereign nature again. And I can't, you know, and Mercury backing it up with this whole sense of joy is one of the ways of doing this. Find the fun in life and see what happens.
Very good. That's our assignment. Find the fun.
Find the fun.
Yeah, it's always possible to do, even though, you know, I mean, we must admit we're in some pretty challenging times, even though there's a lot of light and we see it everywhere dawning on the planet, in various places in the planet. We see a lot of light dawning, but you know, it's hard to avoid seeing all the darkness and the you know, unconsciousness that most of the world is still creating and living in. So it's up to us, those of us who have been on a path of awakening, on a path of you know, self-discovery, self-knowledge, spiritual inquiry, to take the wisdom that the years have brought us and our inquiries brought us and share that in you know, plethora of ways, you know, through whatever modality if we're healers or we're speakers or we're teachers or we're, you know, school teachers or parents or, you know, whatever it is that we do, just, you know, sharing that higher frequency, living from that higher frequency. So it's not just a sort of a mental awareness, you know, but it's actually a state that we live in more and more of the time as we move through our daily life. So that's essentially the shift that we're heading into. One of the things that I found significant is, you know, Venus we just talked about the Venus conjunct Pluto, so powerful at the opening of the year. And then we get in 2 weeks into January. And right here on the 14th of January, we have the third quarter moon. So another point in time after coming through the full moon realization of you know, of where we are now and the kind of changes that we're going to be making in the new direction that we're heading in, having those realizations. And then also coming right behind that, Venus moving into, on the 14th of January, into a right angle, actually the 13th to the 14th, a right angle square to Uranus. So first Venus was conjunct Pluto, took us through this big transformation. Now Venus is in a right angle with Uranus, saying, wake up, you know, wake up. I mean, have we just had our heads in the sand? Are we paying attention to where we are, to what's going on in our world, to what's needed right now? You know, it's a big wake-up call for humanity. And we did say that this would be a dramatic year, so January is going to blaze the trail on that. And yes, there's still some very favorable energies. I mean, all this innovation and creativity, Mars linked now with both with Chiron, so healing modalities, breakthroughs in medicine. I'm seeing all kinds of breakthroughs in medical research now. And then Mars also in this favorable linking aspect with Jupiter. So we, you know, can see where the growth is going. We can see where the expansion is for us. We can begin to line ourselves up for that, to actualize that. There's a lot going on, but we may need to take a deep look, a really deep look at how the values that we believed in before, that we espoused to be true, have led us. What have they led us to in terms of the results of our life? And is it time to really have a, you know, no excuses policy on really getting clear about the values that we're committed to now, and not sort of slipping back into old automatic behavior? That's the challenge of the time, and it's no small challenge. So we need, you know, we need all of us on deck, you know, I mean, sharing the wisdom, sharing the light, sharing the joy, right? Sharing the celebration, and continuing to do the inner work. You know, you have a coach, you have a healer, you have an advisor. We're all here to support each other with our various expertise. So we engage with what's available to us And we support each other in this movement and it's simply a movement of self-awareness. Getting more and more illuminated to who we are and living more and more from that illumined state. That's really all that is going on here. So you could say it's quite joyous.
It can be fantastical.
Mm. Yeah. So a lot of big changes right here. And then Mercury, Mercury will get ready to do its turn, which I think is going to feel good. Mars will have done its turn. So we're back, at least headed back in a direction that's all, it's forward instead of doing a lot of referencing to the past and cleaning up in the past. We're really moving forward, especially by the time of the new moon, January 21st. Did you want to talk about that?
Well, talking about the new moon is the human design new year.
Yeah.
Very, very great time for all of us. I said that before, the new moon takes place in gateway number 60 alongside the sun and Pluto, but right after that, we have the human design new year where the sun slips into gateway number 41. So why can't I go with the January 1st? Why do we go with the sun going into the 41 on the 22nd? It's basically, it's 21st in California, it's 22nd everywhere else in the world to the east. So most of you will have the human design new year on the 22nd of January. Coincident with the new year, we have Uranus turning direct in hexagram number 2, line 2, which is the one I was saying. It's all of a sudden you know something and you have no idea how you know it. Also coincident that we have the sun interacting with Saturn, which is now in gateway number 30. So we all have the channel of 4130, which is the channel of vision. Far vision. What are the experiences I want to have in life? How am I going to open up this year? What are the things I want to draw to me? Do I need to have a bucket list, or can I just get on with it? Can I just start mapping in things in my year ahead that these are the experiences I'm looking for? You put out the word to existence. Hey, guys, this is something I'm really interested to go for. This is something that means something profound to me. At that same time, we have the moon in gateway number 19, and we have Venus in gate 49. And so we have these two connections between the root center and the emotion center. From the root center, this pressure or this cradling from Mother Earth saying, come on, you've got the support now, go for it. The 1949 is this channel of sensitivity. The moon, we've already talked about quite a bit, having this very different relationship in our lives, and it's a new moon. And Venus in the 49, which is this gateway of revolution, it's about, changing things around to make for a better way for everybody. And it makes up this channel of hypersensitivity. So we have this channel of vision, we have this channel of sensitivity, hypersensitivity, we have Uranus going direct in this gate of unlearnable knowing. And it's really, it's almost like a little bit of a firework scene going off. There's this new moon, 21st, 22nd is bringing about all this shift and change. And why I call it the new year from the human design point of view is the gate 41 is the start codon in our genetics. I am no genetic expert, but I just know this about the 41. It's the beginning of all life experience. We might say it's the beginning of all life experience in 3D. It's like the source of everything that has taken place in terms of life being possible for us as humans and for animals and everybody else on this earth, and maybe in other places as well. So it's foundational in terms of setting out the possibility. What is the dream, right? So supposing you were given your own creation, your own universe to create, and planets and everything, animals, birds, fishes, all that. Supposing you were given that, right? Here's your homework assignment. What would you wish for? What would you see? How would you expand this creativity in your life? How would you make a hummingbird or a butterfly or a tree? Or, we all have something of this impulse within us. I'm not saying we have to do these things. Who knows? But I am saying this new year offers us many, many different things. And the great thing is connecting into our emotions and connecting to our feelings. When we talk about the emotion center in human design, we're talking about the center of pleasure, fun and games. Yeah. As human beings, we're not just allowed to have pleasure, we need to explore pleasure. And I'm not saying licentiousness, I'm talking about, enjoying simple things in life, finding the pleasure in a wholesome pleasure, finding the fun in a smile and a good meal and a handshake and a, new building or some artwork or some creativity, just remembering.
Family connection.
Totally. Yeah. So, there it is. There's the challenge with the Human Design New Year, 22nd of January, 2023.
And right before that, on the 21st of January, we have a new moon. So the sun has left the sign of Capricorn, goes into Aquarius. And we have a new moon in Aquarius, 1 degree of Aquarius, conjoining Pluto. Pluto, that planet of transformation, at the last little bit of Capricorn. So very powerful, catalyzing new moon, catalyzing transformation, catalyzing awakening. It's in some very lovely, highly dynamic, but positive and flowing aspects. One of them being Mercury, the planet of communication. Although we're still working through, getting to our truth and finding new ways to speak our truth and live our truth. Mercury, we're beginning to also get some really highly dynamic kind of downloads and ideas and breakthrough ideas and intuitions coming, the flashes of intuition, awareness, insight. And we begin to really see our path forward and how we're going to navigate that path forward. That all is there in the potential of this new moon that happens on the 21st of January. So it's highly creative. Jupiter forming this beautiful linking energy with the new moon. Jupiter and Chiron interacting in a way to bring healing. Mars in there, innovating like crazy, moving things forward. So dynamic, lots of movement. Are there challenges at this time? Not as much as we have just come through, but the challenges would be more in the line of how do we communicate clearly and effectively and genuinely and honestly in a way that can be beneficial in a contribution to the whole. So that would be the challenge of the time, which is simply about discovering a way to do that. So we of course, we're going to be back with you again. I'm not ending things, but I'm just sort of giving us a little touch in as to where we are right now, because we're about to wrap up this broadcast. We will be back with you again on Saturday, January 28th, for another deep dive look at the coming year. The coming month. I'm talking too fast.
February. We'll be talking about February.
February on January 28th, and we invite you to join us. We really, really enjoy bringing you the news of the cosmos every month, and enjoy having you with us. So tune into that, and of course, the recording of this broadcast will be available to you if you happen to miss it live. Hopefully, you can tune in and know that your energy is with us as well. So, Shatan, you want to say anything as a way to wrap up the exploration here?
One last little thing here. I haven't talked about Neptune, and Neptune is one of my favorite planets. Mm-hmm. And Neptune, again, moves slowly, 180 odd years going around the sky around us. And so it's a generational thing. And at the moment, Neptune is in gateway number 36, which is in the top corner of the emotion center. So it's going to stay there for the whole of this year, most of next year. And the 36 is the gateway in the traditional I Ching, and the translation is called the darkening of the light, which basically means there's a potential confrontation with something that you haven't dealt with before, and you're not quite sure how to deal with it. And so I call the gateway crisis resolution, in that, crisis, I've never encountered this issue before. Resolution, when you make the first step and find your way through, and all of us are equipped to make steps in life to find our way through crises. All you have to do is look over your shoulder and see where you've come from, all the crises that have happened, and one way or another things sort themselves out. The most important thing I find to recognize about this particular gate, and it's Neptune, and Neptune has everything to do with our spirituality, love for love's sake. You know, what is life all about if it's not about love? But, you know, Neptune's not exactly always completely direct and clear in how it gets to express this. So when I consider Neptune in this, the gateway of spirituality, if you will, in this gateway of crisis or darkening of the light, where the deeper you look into things, the more mysterious or more difficult to interpret it looks like. Maybe there's no way out here. And the key to the Neptune's presence here for the next year or so is going to be a light unto yourself. However the world looks, gloomy, dreadful, whatever, be a light unto yourself. They did a census in England this last year. They found out that actually for the first time, England is no longer a Christian nation by majority. Less than 50% of people referred to their life in a way that they had a religious affiliation. Things are changing dramatically. If England does it, who knows who's going to be next, you know? And it's like this whole thing of being a light unto yourself and, you know, being in charge of your own life. And certainly when we're looking at what's happening with human design in these years coming, we are moving into the age of the individual. It's all about standing up for ourselves as an individual, as a sovereign being in our own life. It doesn't mean to say we ignore all the rules and regulations and whatever, but it does mean to say our first choice is to be true to ourselves. And I always like to attach the word joy to that now, to have fun with being ourselves.
Yeah, and the good news there is that, you know, following as we get to the close of the month of January, we've now got Mars is going forward again. It's beginning to pick up some speed by the end of January. And Mercury has done its turn on the 18th, 19th of January, and is also now in direct motion and will pick up speed in February. So we're going to see towards the end of January some really positive energies flowing and all kinds of new possibility and kind of a new buzz of energy out there. So it's just all about what is it that we want to create? What are we inspired to create? We'll leave you with that thought,
Yes.
and we'll be back with you next month.
Look forward to seeing you then.